I took a shortcut through the woods. There's a house that shouldn't be there. I'm not the kind of person who scares easy. I've worked night shifts, done backcountry solo hikes, even spent a year volunteering at a crisis hotline. But what I saw 2 nights ago, I still don't have words for it. I've tried calling friends, trying to explain, but every time I start, I feel like I'm unraveling. So I'm writing it here. Because if I don't, I'll start to believe none of it happened. That's how it gets you. It started with a shortcut. I was driving home after visiting my mom, small town, middle of nowhere, 2-hour trip through winding mountain roads. It was late, foggy. My phone was at 4%. The GPS cut out 10 minutes after I lost signal, and I missed a turn somewhere. I figured I'd just backtrack. That's when I saw the old wooden sign nailed to a pine tree. Miller's Path, logging trail, no through road. I'd heard of Miller's Path before. My uncle used to tell stories about it when I was a kid. Said it was an old lumber route from the 40s, abandoned. Leads to nowhere, fast, he'd say. Don't go trying to find shortcuts through bones. I thought he was just being dramatic. I turned onto the trail. The road was barely wide enough for my car. Rutted dirt, tree branches clawing at the windows, fog so thick I had to crawl forward at 5 miles per hour. Every so often I thought I saw lights through the trees. Flickers. Nothing steady. Just enough to make me feel like I wasn't alone. Then the engine sputtered. No warning, no check engine light, just a lurch and a sound like someone inhaling through wet cloth. Then silence. I tried the ignition. Nothing. I checked my phone, dead, no signal, no bars, no battery. That was when I heard it. Not an animal, not wind. Music. Faint like an old phonograph, tinny and distant. A woman's voice, slow and warbling. Let the pine be your cradle. Let the moss be your bed. I thought maybe someone lived out here. A cabin maybe. A ranger station. So I grabbed my flashlight and stepped out. The forest was too quiet. You don't realize how much noise trees usually make until they don't. No rustling, no crickets, no wind. Just the sound of my boots in the dirt and that voice getting louder. I followed it. The path twisted deeper through the trees. The fog didn't let up. In fact, it got thicker, like it was clinging to me. My skin started to itch, my throat felt dry. The deeper I went, the more I felt like I was being watched. That's when I saw the house. 2 stories. White paint peeling off in long, curling strips. A porch sagging in the middle. Windows too dark for the light coming from inside. And there was light. Candlelight flickering through the cracks in the shutters. The front door was wide open. The song was louder now, echoing from inside. The roots will rise and the worms will feed, I called out. No answer, so I stepped inside. The air was wrong, heavy, wet, like stepping into a storm cellar that hadn't been opened in decades. The wallpaper was rotted, curling at the seams. Floorboards bowed underfoot. But everything else looked untouched. Not dusty, not abandoned, lived in. There were shoes by the door. A coat hung on the rack. A tea kettle whistled softly on a wood-burning stove in the kitchen. I stepped into the living room. That's when I saw her, sitting in a rocking chair facing the window. Pale blue dress, hair long and tangled. Her skin looked wrong. Too thin, almost translucent, like wax held over a flame. The song was coming from her mouth, but her lips didn't move. Just that voice, slow and distant. Close your eyes and lay below, where time forgets and shadows grow. Ma'am? I asked. She didn't turn around. Then the chair stopped rocking. Just froze. The song stopped too. I was about to turn and leave when she finally spoke. Not with her mouth. The words weren't sound. They were inside my head like pressure behind my eyes. You weren't invited. Every hair on my body stood up. I stepped back. The floor groaned beneath me. Then the walls breathed. I swear to God they inhaled, bulging outward. The wallpaper pulsing like skin. The lights flickered and shadows poured from the corners like spilled ink. I turned and ran, but the door was gone. Just wall. Seamless. I spun, trying to find another exit, but every window was bricked over from the inside. The house had changed, grown. The furniture was gone now. The floorboards under my feet writhed like they were alive. Then I heard the footsteps, not hers. Something heavier, dragging, from the stairs above. Each step groaned with the weight of whatever was coming down. I ducked into the hallway, heart slamming against my ribs. Found a door, slammed it shut behind me and clicked on the flashlight. It didn't help. The room was lined with mirrors, floor to ceiling, dozens of them, but none showed me. They showed versions of the room, but not me. Other people, standing alone, each one pale and shaking. One was missing a hand, another bled from the eyes. One looked almost like me, but older, tired. His eyes were wrong, flat. Then they started to move, not the mirrors, the people inside them. They all looked up at once, and smiled. That's when I heard it again. Sleep now, child, beneath the pine. It was behind me. I turned. The woman from the chair was in the room now, but her mouth still wasn't moving. Her face, it wasn't right. The longer I looked, the less sense it made. Her features swam. Eyes where her cheeks should be, too many teeth, no nose. She reached for me with arms that were too long. I threw myself against the nearest mirror. It cracked, but didn't break. The version of me inside stared back, mouthed something. Wake up. I slammed the flashlight against the glass. The mirror shattered. and the wall behind it opened. I ran. The house didn't fight me this time. Doors opened where they hadn't been before. Stairs led downward instead of up. I don't know how long I ran. Time didn't make sense. Everything smelled like rust and old milk. When I finally burst out into the forest, the fog was gone. So was the house. No sign of it, no foundation, just trees. I ran back to the road. My car was there, still cold, still dead, but it was real. I sat inside and waited for morning. When the sun came up, the engine started on the first try. I drove until I hit signal and called my uncle. He listened, didn't interrupt. When I finished, all he said was, "What did the pine smell like?" I didn't answer. I already knew he'd been there too. I don't know what that house is, or why it let me leave, but last night I found something in my apartment, a scrap of wallpaper. It smells like soil, and this morning my hallway was 2 feet longer than it should be. I measured it, twice. I think the house came with me, and I don't think it's done yet.